into the 4th floor, an extension of 5 on the floor here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, sponsored as always by our friends over at Biscayne Bay Brewing. Make sure if you're at the Heat game tonight, the only way to get through this one is through the beer. So go to the Biscayne Bay Brewing stand. It's right outside where I sit over at 124. Get yourself a Tropical Bay IPA. It will make this game go down a whole lot smoother. So check out Biscayne Bay Brewing. Also at Marlins Park or Home Depot Stadium, whatever it is they're calling it, Lone Depot Stadium. Check that out as well. You'll need a beer there because Sterling Marte is going to be out for about a month or maybe longer. Also sponsored by our friend Lynette at insurancebyLynette.com. There she is, 954-581-8800, 954-581-8800. She handles all kinds of different insurance. She is a huge Heat fan. You'll probably see her commenting here on the stream. And she can definitely help you if you have a bad driving record. So if you have a bad driving record, she is the person to go to. Trust me, I gave her the biggest challenge of all time. And she solved it for me. So there you go. Not me, someone else. All right, let's get to it. Before we get to tonight's JV game against the Houston Rockets, I do want to clarify something that I shouldn't have to clarify, but that's the level. That's where we're at right now. I want to handle this here. Ira Winderman and Ira Winderman, of course, of the Sun Sentinel. You follow him at Ira Heatbeat. Been covering the team since 1988. Ira and I have been doing a show regularly on Onside Radio once a week for an hour, which is now Mondays at 10 o'clock. We started talking about Tyler Hero today, and we both reported what we've heard, which is that the team has been concerned about Tyler's focus to a certain degree for the past few months. Neither of us said anything about his work ethic. I just listened back to it. It's literally on a podcast. You can get it in all the same places you get 5 on the floor. Okay, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean. It's in all those places. We said nothing about Tyler's work ethic. No one said anything about that. It got aggregated like we were talking about his work ethic, just like the Jimmy Butler All-Star thing got aggregated in a way that bore no resemblance to what I initially said. So this is both Ira and I have now been taken out of context on this, okay? The Heat are concerned to a certain degree about his focus, okay, as he's become more of a celebrity. He's not the first player they've been concerned about that with. That I stand by that reporting. Not his work ethic. I didn't say he's not working hard. Neither of us ever said he wasn't working hard. All right, let's get to that. So that's it. You want to clip that? Clip that. That's what we said. Okay, we can listen to it. All right, let's get to tonight. Brady, this is going to be fun. No Butler. We thought maybe he might play tonight, but it looks like they're targeting Wednesday for that one. No Hero. There was some question during the day. He was listed as questionable. He was upgraded to questionable and then ruled out. So he's out. Iguodala will play. Bam will not play. They're listing it as a knee from celebrating, I guess. And Dragic will play. So basically, they have, and this is why I'm wearing this shirt, because this should be the game that Udonis Haslem gets his first minute of the season, even if it has to be a 2-guard. Okay. What are you projecting for the starting lineup? And does anybody else want to take a crack at this?
Yeah, I think there's going to differ. I think we know it's going to be Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson. Most likely Iguodala again and Trevor Ariza. And I saw Greg, who he thought was going to be the 5, but I kind of think they're going to go in a different direction and go with Precious.
I think so too.
That just seems like the type of thing that they would do. They don't want to mess with what they've got. They're going to keep Goran obviously on the bench. They have a good thing going with these relief Deadman minutes, which will be better than probably the starting minutes tonight if they go that route. But there's something that tells me that they just kind of go that way and then use Bielisa as a spark plug if they need it.
I disagree.
Go ahead.
I vehemently disagree because I just feel like they're going to reward him for his debut. And this is like a weird game where rotations and where you place guys in your long-term rotation gets thrown out the window because so many guys are out anyway. So keeping Deadman in a bench role, like what are we really doing there? Like it's better that he gets a 32-minute game and actually gets reps.
You want to kill him? He's been out for a year.
No, he looked like he's ready to go.
I was impressed by him, but come on,
you don't need much wind when
he's
you
got a young son. Don't kill him. I was looking at his IG today. He's got a lovely little family. You don't want to kill the man. All right, I'll let Jonathan and then Ricky. I'll let you guys weigh in on that. First thing, Dragic's coming off the bench, right? Like they got to be able to score a point off the bench. I would think, right? Okay, so we agree. None, Ariza, Robinson, likely Iguodala. Could be Okpala, by the way. They could start Okpala and bring Iggy off the bench. But who's the 5th there, Jonathan?
I think I'm going to go with Precious. I kind of see what Brady's saying with kind of the way way he likes to stick with rotations. Even with what he has, he kind of wants to keep him in that secondary role. And we've seen the games, especially early in the year when Bam was out, that Precious actually played a little bit better. He was able to get 2 double-doubles in a row against Philadelphia. So I think Precious has the opportunity to maybe kind of have a bounce-back game, give you a little bit more energy, and just get those reps that he needs anyways.
Ricky, let's go to it. Houston, we're going to get a Kelly Olynyk game tonight. I don't think there's any question. By the way, before I go to you, the Heat will likely – they came up with this stipulation so that they didn't have to do anything for Hassan and Hassan get booed. So they only do the videos for players who won championships now. That's the new rule. So Kelly's not going to get a video, just like Jay Rich didn't get a video, but he will get recognized.
An acknowledgement.
He will get an acknowledgement. Does Kelly go for 30 or 40 tonight, Ricky? What do you think?
I could see it. I mean, it's happened to former Heat players before. And to kind of go back to who might end up starting, honestly, it wouldn't shock me if I saw Dedmon play. Because when you consider, the very worst of Bam is a Bam that doesn't even look at the basket, turns around and does dribble handoffs. That's not exactly a difficult thing to do when you're a big man in this Heat offense, aside from some of the other stuff. So I could see them going with Dedmon. Whether or not he plays a lot of minutes, that's something else completely, but I could see that working. But as far as Kelly's concerned, Kelly has been a looter and a riot. I know there are Heat fans that are watching Kelly's numbers after the trade and thinking, oh my God, what did we let go? Keep in mind, the Rockets are very close to being like that 9-73 Hornets team or Bobcats team from a few seasons back. This team lost 20 straight games. They're a bad team. Christian Wood is averaging all-star numbers for this team. No disrespect to Christian Wood, but no. Like, come on. So, yeah, this isn't.
Wood may go off if he's playing.
Oh, well, I
maybe.
By the way,
yeah.
by the way, PrizePicks.com. Use the code 5 FIV. Play Christian Wood tonight. Okay, I just
played. But
Christian
Olynyk, I'm not buying it. I actually think he'll go close to 18. I'll give him 18.
But I will say this. Here's my only dispute, Ricky. I'm not arguing that there should be any regret about this. They weren't going to re-sign Kelly anyway. Okay, but I will say this. The term looter on a riot is typically used for players who are on low efficiency. Kelly has been actually on excellent efficiency since he's shot over 56% with them.
And 60% from 3, which that tells you why it's not sustainable.
Well, I'm not saying it's sustainable, but I think looter in a riot is probably a little unfair. I mean, he's been freed from the shackles of Spo, and he's basically, he's shown something there. And I was talking to Ira about this. He's likely going to get another mid-level contract this offseason. He'll probably somebody's going to pay him $10 million a year.
All right, I'll give you 2 names, all right? First of all, Steven Jackson, after he hit like 6 big threes for the Spurs in Game 6 of the 2003 NBA Finals. That's one. Yes. Number 2, you remember Mike James when he played for Miami?
I do. I watched him play in the Summer League here before the Heat signed.
Yeah, so what happened to Mike James when he signed with –
How about Jerome James? He had one good playoff series.
Yeah, but what happened to Mike James when he signed with a terrible Raptors team? All of a sudden, he became almost a 20-point-a-game scorer. The numbers are going to go up, and it's a nice stretch for Kelly. But, I mean, Kelly's not going to magically become an 18-12 player. That's not who he is right now. It's just the way things are right now. There's a reason for that.
Everybody's hat-tipping me on things I didn't say now because I got hat-tipped by Pro City Hoops on something I did that. You can't tip your hat to someone who doesn't actually say the thing you're tipping the hat to. Idiots. Anyway, all right, let's get to the next part. I mean, I don't even know what the expectation should be tonight. Like, we've seen, like, the Heat, when relatively healthy, lost.
There's no expectation. That's the beauty of
Minnesota. Like, right? I mean, yeah, but
and I ate a cracker.
No, you can't. Look, we were talking about this today, okay? And I think we need to address this on 5 on the floor, but let's touch on it here. I mean, the Heat are in real danger of the play-in. I mean, they're in real danger of it. And you got to realize, if they end up in the play-in, they don't get that extra week off. It means you can't sort of slow down Dragic, Iguodala, Ariza, Butler into the playoffs. You got to play a full week. And what if you get a Hornets team that gets everybody back just before the end of the season? Or you get a Washington team and Beal and Westbrook just go off. Like, you don't – I mean, you
get 2001.
Right.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
I don't think they're that far. I don't think that they are so seriously and critically this position where they're going to be in the playing games, because I pay attention with 14 left to the loss column. And in the loss column, they're only 1 game back of New York, who's in 6. So,
and they have the tiebreaker on the Knicks. But remember, if they beat them 3 times. Remember, if a bunch of teams are tied together, then it
gets weird.
Aggregated. Okay.
And I'm hearing you. Sometimes these games with weird players that are out there, we don't remember them years down the road. But for tonight, you can see some crazy stuff happen. So I don't know.
Yeah,
hey, Greg, I'm glad you mentioned the Knicks because they're on a 6-game winning streak right now, and they're playing very well. That's dangerous. No, really, it's dangerous because Miami's been kind of up and down lately, and you don't want that to. You don't want that to come back and bite you later in the season if you're a Heat fan.
Well, Jonathan, and we'll go to Brady on this. I mean, right now, Boston, Atlanta, and the Knicks are all playing better than the Heat. I mean, they're all playing more consistently than the Heat are. I mean, Charlotte's dropped out because they're not healthy. But those 3 teams, I mean, the Celtics are playing much higher level ball than they have before. That's a good win the other night against Golden State, I mean, under the circumstances. And I said the Knicks are playing well. You have a tiebreak on the Knicks. But this assumption that the Heat are going to sort of slide back into that 4 or 5 spot, you can't drop games to Houston. I don't care who's on the court. I mean, you have to win the game. And this one you can't bank as a loss.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that you really need, although it's a game that we're missing a lot of players and we're playing a scrub team, right? We just lost to Minnesota with pretty much a team that just has nothing, one of the worst teams in the league. And now we don't have that cushion like we had before. Maybe not even had that cushion before, but at least we were in the 4 seed and we had that positioning over other teams. So now we have to really focus on getting these wins regardless of who we have and who we don't have, because down the stretch, if we're losing players, if Oladipo isn't coming back until later in the season, we're going to have to rely on what we have. And if what we have is, Kendrick Nunn and Trevor Ariza and Duncan Robinson, we're going to have to make it work and still get the win regardless of who we have on the court.
Brady, to that end,
in the season.
Who's the X factor? Okay, we obviously know they got to get decent play out of Dragic, Nunn, and Robinson, right? Because, I mean, those are really the 3 core pieces that can score. Give me a 4th. Who's going to be the other? Is it Max Strus, maybe?
That was the guy I was going to say. I think that's the one guy that can actually spark them offensively. KZ Okpala is just not going to be that guy at this stage. He does not look at the basket even at all, even when he has opportunities by the rim. So that's what, you can't really expect anything on that end. You can see a high attempt Gabe Vincent game, but we've seen how that's kind of gone when he shoots a lot of threes. But I do think Max Strus can give them something because he's done it efficiently. And he's been thrown into the fire in a lot of games this year, either, late in the second half, recently as he did, or maybe in a situation where they had guys out. And he's pretty much showed up in all of those games. So if there's a guy that's going to do that, it would probably be Strus. And another thing to mention about where they are in the standings. It was a bit interesting to hear Spoelstra kind of talk about, like, he seemed he was prepared for this type of game where he wants to showcase the young guys and see what they're made of. When they're not very comfortable in the East in the standings right now, it just seemed like they were already prepared for this type of game, which is why I was honestly surprised that they even, are ruling Goran and Andre available on a back-to-back, in this type of situation. That's why it's a bit different, but it is interesting that they are a bit prepared, that they do want to see a guy like Precious and KZ, which goes back to the starting lineup, that he seems so prepared for this game that he wants to see the young guys grow today, that it seems like they would go the young route over that, which is another reason they could go KZ over Iguodala as well.
And they could go Precious over Deadman.
How about Ariza? This is an Ariza game.
It could be. I just, it's interesting you say, well, they had to play Dragic and Iguodala. I wonder if that was not the plan, that actually Hero and Butler were just not in position to play. Because I feel like if Hero and Butler could play, they probably would have held Dragic and Iguodala out. I don't think they would have gone with them tonight. And honestly, I would have rather Goran sat, because yesterday's the first time I've seen him have any burst in forever. So it would have been nice to give him another day off. All right, let's finish here. Again, prizepicks.com. Use the code 5. Could you get Kendrick Nunn up there, PrizePicks people? Because I want to play that. There were no Heat players.
Yeah, no single stats.
There were no single stats.
They had Duncan, though, for fantasy points, and you had to go over on that one.
I would think that would be smart.
There's a
total?
concern. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm seeing a very concerning story coming out of the Athletic with regards to Sterling Brown. Apparently, he was jumped outside of a club late Sunday in Miami, was hit in the head with a bottle, and needed medical attention.
No way.
Facial lacerations and everything. There's 2 things here. First of all, we hope he's okay. We hope he gets everything sorted out. Second of all, we in the middle of a pandemic. What's he doing at a club?
Well, why was he even in Miami? He's Milwaukee.
He's a Rocket. Aren't they playing in Miami
Rock.
tonight?
He's a Rock. Oh, I forgot. He was with Milwaukee previously.
Yeah.
And
The thing and the thing that concerns me about this is, was he alone? Did he have any players with him? Who did he come into contact with? And not only that, you remember that Washington game earlier in the season that pretty much knocked out the Heat for about a month.
He's probably vaccinated.
He's probably vaccinated, but
I
think
know.
a lot of them are vaccinated now. They're not.
It can still
us.
spread.
But there was also last night somebody who played yesterday for who did they play yesterday? For Brooklyn is now in the safety protocols. Claxton is now in the protocols.
Right.
I saw that today. So
he was near Bam too much. Damn it.
Here's the other thing to consider. Houston was in Orlando last night. You mentioned they got into Miami. We talked about this morning. They probably had a late night out. And we don't really talk about that much anymore. But remember, Miami, the curfew is lifted. It's no longer a midnight curfew or 10 o'clock on the beach. It's now 4 a.m. again. So the curfew is lifted. So who knows what kind of condition they're going to come into. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Biscayne Bay Brewing, insurancebyLynette.com. Greg, me, and Alex will be back after this travesty at some point later in the evening. I might fall asleep even if it's 9 o'clock. Have a good night, everybody.
Welcome back to the shoot around. The Miami Heat beat the Brooklyn Nets 109-107 on national television, and Jimmy Butler wasn't playing. Victor Oladipo wasn't playing. The Nets missed Kevin Durant and James Harden. Bam Adebayo won this game. Ariel, your thoughts about that shot, and what does it do for the Heat moving forward?
Just awesome for him to hit that shot in that spot on national TV with, more attention on the game than your average Heat game. Thought that was probably his second signature moment after the block on Jason Tatum in the playoffs. It's just awesome. I love the way that, he decided, I'm taking this shot. This is my moment, and I'm taking this shot. I'm taking the clock down to the wire so that when I release the shot, the buzzer goes off. There's no offensive possession for the Nets after that. I love that he waved Goran off in that spot, decided to take the shot himself, and I think that this is the type of win that can hopefully propel the Heat going forward.
Yeah, after the Timberwolves game, Jimmy Butler pretty much called the team soft, and understandably so. He said what everybody had kind of been seeing a little bit, and he didn't – he specifically called out Bam, saying that he needed to play more bully ball and be more aggressive, and Bam tried to do that tonight. There was a few growing pains with turnovers and whatnot, but ultimately we needed a shot from Bam at the end of the game, and Bam hit the shot. I think it is something that is going to be huge for the Heat moving forward. Hopefully it leads to something, right? But this team showed that they could win in a dogfight without Jimmy Butler, and that's what you wanted to see. They do play tonight against the Houston Rockets. Kelly Olynyk, quote-unquote, revenge game. We won't have Victor Oladipo, but, the Heat should take care of business again. I feel like it's Timberwolves game 2.0.
They should take care of business. I know Kelly's been on a tear, but I get Major Looter and the Riot vibes from him. We know what Kelly Olynyk is. We've seen it here for multiple years. I think, regardless of whether or not Jimmy's back, this is a win you have to get if you're the Heat. I expect Bam to take that challenge against Kelly Olynyk and, clamp him up. I've got the Heat winning tonight.
Yeah, no, they should win this game. I would be surprised if they lost, honestly. And I know it's like we aren't at that point with the Heat yet. Like they had one game. It's not that much of an impact, but I think it's something that will lead to bigger things for this team. And ultimately, you want to see the Heat take care of this game and then ultimately have some momentum going into the rest of the season. Getting 2 wins after what happened last week would be a really, really big plus for this team.
Hey, Coach, we'll get started with Mateo Mayorga.
Couple things for you, Coach. First, down 7 points with less than 4 minutes to go. That's obviously plenty of time, but what did you think of the Heat's character down the stretch to pull off the win?
Well, we found a level of grit, and particularly on that defensive end. We had some rough possessions, going down the stretch, even when we were down. But we were able to put together, a string of stops that, gave us just a little bit of a mental break to be able to either get something in transition. Goran had that really great coast to coast, but a little bit less pressure on your offense when you have some confidence to be able to get some stops and do it at key times. We've been waiting for that, for 4 games to be able to get that level of commitment and grit defensively. And there were a lot of efforts to be able to do it. Obviously they, even without Durant and Harden, they just have an incredible amount of firepower shooting. Kyrie's playmaking and creativity is just it's crazy. But we were able to make some possessions, at least tough, at least contested, and then finish it off, on the glass. Bam, was really good defensively going down the stretch. I know we will all talk about his game winner, but defensively he made some things happen, and when in doubt, he would just go up in a crowd and get the rebound.
Up next, we'll go to Tim Reynolds.
Eric, like you said, we're all going to talk about the game winner. It just seemed as though he made his mind up several seconds before that shot, what he was going to do, that he wanted.
He handled it the right way. We had 2 timeouts, and we were going to look for an opportunity like we just had. One of our best opportunities going down the last 4 minutes was Goran downhill for that layup. So the outlet went to Goran, and we thought we might have another opportunity for that. But then once it went to Bam, he handled the right way. He looked over to the bench. And at that point, we just made eye contact. My hands were up, and it was like, okay, it just better be the last shot, which is something that, we worked on a long time ago. It might have even been in training camp. And we botched a very similar situation. Somebody ran in front. I won't name who that guy was. And that team, Bam, had the ball in a very similar situation, didn't even get a last look at it in a scrimmage. So that was good recognition and great poise on his part. Basically the only thing and that understanding was it better be the last shot, whatever it was.
And also, Eric, big picture, if you guys had lost this game, you would have been 2.5 behind the 6th spot with 15 to go.
Yeah.
How improved is it?
There's going to be so many of these storylines in the next month. You just have to stay the course. Focus on your team, focus on each game. Can't get ahead of yourself. This is ultimately what you want as a professional. You want these games to have incredible context. You want there to be great frustration, anger if you lose, and you want there to have a feeling like this if you win. And it's not like, I don't think anybody's really in our grouping is going to be like pulling away, in the next month. This is going to be a competitive grind.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Ira Winderman.
Eric, what you got from Dwayne Dedman, that big body, the rebounds, the defense, and 10 points on one shot. I mean, was it a little surprising this much this soon, or is this what you envisioned?
This is who he's been. He's been a big player, plays big, plays at the rim, he gives us, certain elements of what we don't have. And in these short minutes and these short bursts, he's been able to do what he's done previously as a starter. Really, it was just a matter of getting his game or his basketball conditioning. And we, there was basically an understanding on his part and our part, that he wanted to have a little bit of time just to make sure he wasn't going out there not ready and vice versa. He's been putting in a lot of work behind the scenes, and he gave us really good, important minutes tonight.
And then the depth of scoring on a night when Jimmy's not here to get 18 from Goran, 17 from Kendrick, 15 from Trevor. How important is that when your leading guy isn't there, that everyone steps up?
Yeah, that was important. I think the guys wanted to play well, considering, there's nothing more motivating than a 3-game losing streak. There's incredible desperation, at that point. And guys wanted to play well. Guys wanted to contribute. And certainly a lot of guys stepped up. The ball was moving. Even our turnovers, their hearts are in the right place. They're trying to set up somebody else. We had too many try to thread the needle type passes, but I'll take the intentions. But at the end of the day, I think this game was won with our defense and the commitment to get multiple stops in that fourth quarter.
Next, we'll go to Anthony Chang.
But regarding Trevor, he's said for the past few weeks that his defense is ahead of his offense, but you mentioned a few days ago that you simplified things for him offensively. How much more comfortable do you think he's looked? on the offensive end, and how critical was his 2 weeks?
His versatility is so critical, for this team. It's not underrated at all, for us. It's certainly not from the head coach or the staff or his teammates. He just unlocks so much of our versatility, and then offensively, he just knows how to play off of people. And he's played this role for a long time, with some of the best players in this league. He knows how to fit in. He knows how to make you pay if you're trying to help too much. He knows how to get behind the defense on cuts. Just a very heady, savvy veteran winner.
Next to go to Cooper Moorhead.
So, Bam seemed to have a little trouble up and down as far as reading where the help was coming from all night. So one, how do you think that learning experience went for him? And then two, what does it say about him that he kind of stuck with it and then kept making the plays? He never really gave up anything on defense, even when he was having those turnovers.
Yeah, I think, we went to him a little bit more in the post, so I think those reads were really, really good for him. And they were, changing up, where that trap was coming from. And again, Bam's intentions are, so good and so giving. A lot of those turnovers where he's trying to get somebody an easy basket. And then now it's just making, the next read, the next layer, seeing where the weak side defense is and, where the rotations go from there.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and start with Brady Hawk.
Hey, Goran, it seems like you're playing next to Kendrick a lot more lately. How much are you noticing his progression as a catch and shoot guy, as well as his ability to set up the offense at times with you off the ball?
I mean, he's doing a great job. He stays ready. When Victor went out, he stayed composed and he come back, and he's doing a tremendous job. He's aggressive. He's making shots. He's getting everybody involved, and he's a solid player that we need down the stretch.
Next, we'll go to Ira Winterman.
Goran, this was a game when you guys don't have Jimmy. It seemed like everyone really wanted to step up. There was scoring across the board. Was that sort of the thought process that this has to be about more than one guy without Jimmy? It has to be sort of a bunch of guys stepping up?
Yeah, but if I'm honest, our talk was not about the offense. It was about defense. We struggled the last 3 games. We want to get back and, Spo put the number on the board that we need to hold them under 110 points, and we did it. So I think so. When you play good defense, you don't put so much pressure in offense. But, tonight everybody contributed. Everybody was feeling in rhythm, and, good win for us. Great job by Bam in the end.
You've seen guys who a moment like that, I don't want to say is career defining, but can lift them to another level. To see a guy like Bam have a moment like that where he is the guy, every eye in the building is on him and come through. How much does that mean to a player through the course of his career? Thank you.
I mean, definitely it boosts your confidence, your playing ability and everything. He's working hard. We know that he's our leader, and he demonstrated that tonight. Without Jimmy, he stepped to the challenge, and he took that pressure on his shoulder for that last shot, and he made it. So he's awesome.
Next, we'll go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, Goran, one more on Bam. After the last game, Jimmy called for Bam to be more aggressive and look, get to the rim more. The game winner was from the mid-range. How important has that mid-range been for Bam's development this season? And what's that balance like for him? You think what's the challenge of finding that balance between, taking advantage of that mid-range shot when it's there, but also being aggressive and getting into the paint?
He developed a mid-range shot, but, we tell him we want to be more aggressive to get inside the paint, because we need those opportunity to score at the rim, and he got that ability. He can do both. He can pick and pop to a mid-range. He can catch the lob. He can put the ball on the floor and create for others or for himself. And we want him to be aggressive.
Thanks, Goran.
Next, we'll go to Tim Reynolds.
Hi, Goran. I know there's still 15 games left. I know a lot of things can happen, but if you guys didn't pull this one out today, you'd have been 2.5 behind New York, 2.5 out of that last spot, not in the play-in game. Just how big do you think this one could end up being for you guys as you look for some way to get going on this finishing kick?
I mean, it's big. We lost 2 straight and or 3 straight. 3 straight. Yeah, I'm sorry, 3 straight. So and then at the beginning of the game, before the game, you get a news that Jimmy is not playing. So of course it's important. Every game is important. Like you said, it's only 15 games left. On the East, is a bunch of teams who are really close. So every game counts, and especially tonight, Brooklyn is one of those teams that they're a contender, and we want to show them that we can play against them.
Goran, you've had, a couple of straight line drives today. You obviously had a lot of good things happen for you. How are you feeling right now? Where would you say your spirit, mind, game, all those fun things are at this point?
It's not there that where I want it, but I'm working to get there. So it's been a lot of ups and downs and change, and second unit, we're still looking for our identity, our flow. So it's getting there. So I'm the guy who never gonna throw the towel and say, let's this is it. No, I want to fight to the end. So of course we want to get to the playoffs, and in playoffs everything is possible. So we demonstrated that last year, so we want to be in that position again and play hard as possible.
Thank you, G.
Next we'll go to Cooper Moorhead.
Goran, you've been with Bam since the beginning, since he joined the league. If you look back on, it was a pretty quiet kid back then. Could you have ever seen him? Did you think back when you met him that this was going to be a guy you can throw the ball to for an ISO end of clock at 20 feet? He's going to go hit a jumper to win it?
He's still quiet. So no, I'm joking. You see, I've been here, what's that, Bam, 4th year? And 3-4 years, and you can see all these stages, how he develops into the personality, into the player that he is today. And he got a great potential. I still think he's not done yet. He's still gonna hit another level, and I'm happy for him. He deserves every minute, every dollar, because he's our leader and he demonstrates on the court every night. So I'm happy for him that he made that shot, and many more to come. So
next we'll go to Wes Lammy.
Hey, Goran, obviously, like you mentioned, that you guys didn't throw in the towel there. How valuable is that coast-to-coast layup that you had there to obviously tie it to lead to that game-winning shot by Bam?
Every play is important. I think so. They make a run. We were down 5, maybe 7. We had 2 turnovers in a row. They hit 2 threes. Shamet hit 2 threes, and suddenly, in 15, 20 seconds, they were up 6 points. So, you have to be stable mentally. And, I think so Spo took a timeout, and we just took, a breath in and try to focus on the next play. And we did that throughout the game, especially the last few minutes. And I think so that helped us a lot.
All right, next we'll go to Christos Saltas.
Hello, Goran. Congratulations on the win. Speaking about the team's effort tonight, what did you notice as the biggest growth of your team tonight?
We always bounce back. Doesn't matter how hard it is. Like I said before, we lost 3 straight, and we're gonna fight. We never use excuses. Our best player was out, and somebody else gonna step in and do his job. So. I think so. Tonight's game was huge for us, especially, for confidence and everything. And, tomorrow we have another one, so we need to be ready.
All right, G, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Bam, we'll get started with Tim Reynolds.
Nick, hold on one sec.
Okay.
Bam, you ready?
All right, go ahead.
Bam, yeah, you all right there?
Does it look a little fuzzy on my
It
tree?
does look a little fuzzy on your
Stop.
end. So, Bam, what's the last time you made a game winner? Have you ever made a buzzer beater?
Yeah, high school when I had 50.
You needed a buzzer beater in a game where you scored 50?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was in high school. Think about that.
All right. Well, it wasn't that long ago. So,
Oh man,
it wasn't that long ago, man. You're not old.
do the math.
Yeah, 5 years.
Junior year in high school. Do the math.
Okay, 6 years. Can you take us through your mindset on that last play? Like Spo said, there was like some eye contact between you and him. He sort of put up his hands. It was understood that you had to make sure that was the last shot, no matter what. I mean, can you take us through what was going through your brain in those last few seconds?
Score. Nah, supposed to we get a stop, call it timeout. And, I wasn't cool with that. So when I caught it, I looked at the time and it said 11 seconds. I looked at Spo. And it was one of those looks like, don't call timeout. Like this is the one moment I haven't been doubled in the game. Don't call timeout. And made the shot. To see a reaction like that, it kind of felt like when 3 was here.
What if you guys had lost this game? It would have been an uphill battle to get out of the play-in. What does this mean emotionally for you guys after the last few days and the struggles on the trip and Jimmy expressing his displeasure? What can this mean and what does it mean right now? Thank you.
A season can turn around after a game. And, crazier things have happened in this league. So get out of here, man. But yeah, that's Dwayne Dedman. You know how great he played tonight. So, I just shot at him. But where was I?
You're saying a season can turn around.
Yeah, season can turn around real fast, man. So we just got to build off that. And that's what I always say. I'm always optimistic. I'm always positive. So that's how we're supposed to defend. That's how we're supposed to get stops. So we know we can do it, and we gotta stay consistent with that.
Thank you, Bam.
Yeah, get out of here, Tim. Next
we go to Brendan Tobin.
See, I ain't gonna lie. I like BT, man. He be having my back. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you.
No problem, man. Best person that you've heard from since the game winner? Like, have you gotten a chance to turn on your phone and see reaction from people?
Let's check. My mommy, John Howard, and all my friends and homeboys, closest people.
And I know the stakes can't compare, but how does a game-winning shot in your home building compare to a game-winning block in the Eastern Conference Finals? Just the adrenaline rush of both.
Well, one is in the Eastern Conference Finals. The other one is a regular season game that meant a lot for our season. So they weigh the same. I feel like they weigh the same. But the block was more crazier than that. That was a walk-off game win. The block was for a game. I think I'm the only person to do that. And but I think I'm the first person to do that or something, like a walk-off game block or something.
Next we go to Cooper Moorhead.
Two things. First, when you first got drafted and you got to the Heat, it was clear that you had skills that we hadn't seen a lot of tape on in college. But was it in your mindset way back then that, yeah, in a few years I'm going to be the guy ISOing from 20 feet out, hitting a mid-range jumper at the buzzer?
I've always dreamed of that moment. So, yeah, I knew what I could do when I was younger. So, getting to explore my game and, Spo let me actually call plays and, having the respect and the trust for one another to, he was like, I'm not calling this timeout. Like, this is your moment. And, growing pains since then. So I've never been those dudes that's never been a pure natural scorer. So being in those moments, a little different. But good to get that one out the way.
Next, we'll go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, Bam. After the last game, Jimmy told me to be more aggressive. What's that balance like of trying to find that correct kind of balance between going to the rim and attacking and also taking advantage of that mid-range shot when it's there?
You want a bully ball, right?
That's what he said.
Nah, shoot. Nah, do me a favor too. Also, can y'all switch that narrative of Jimmy called out the team? If you listen to the interview, he said we. So could we switch the narrative to Jimmy says the team, as in we, as in all of us, not just he's saying it and then it's the team's fault. And also switch the narratives of because that's how locker room arguments start. You never know how people feel about it. So that's all I'm saying. Switch the narrative to where it makes sense and not chop out the little piece and make that the title. Like, I get it's y'all jobs, but that's how locker room arguments start. So Jimmy was basically saying we all weren't playing well, not just the other people. You know what I mean? But other than that, we stepped up to the plate. I talked to Jimmy, and he doesn't want me to be more aggressive. I just got to find that balance when, me and him are on the court together. Because, me, I like to pass. So the role I'm in now, shoot first. So, I just be trying to get him involved so much that I'll forget about me and mine. So, he's been harping on me about that. So that's the narrative.
Thanks, man.
All right, next we'll go to Wes Lammy.
Your game is constantly growing. So how does obviously hitting this game winner, your first game winner, build your confidence?
So one step, 1% better, man. I always say that, get 1% better every day. And I have since I've been here. And, my off-season training, working with the coaches in here, getting my body right. And it's paying off for me. So I'm looking to continue this upward battle and trend of, evolving my game.
Next, we'll go to Christos Saltas.
Hello, Bam. Congratulations on your winning shot. I would like to ask you how big part of your new role is all those responsibilities on the court. And speaking for the win, how big win was that tonight for you?
I mean, we just lost to one of the worst records in the NBA, and we're fighting for a playoff spot. We can't have those type of losses. So this game was really important, and the fact that we did it against a top 2 seed, it shows that we can win, games. So we just got to keep that mindset and do the things we did tonight, lock into the little details, and I feel like we'll be okay.
All right, Bam. Thank you.
Black Lives Matter, people.